A popular question I've been getting a lot lately is it possible to work full-time as an RN while still going to nurse practitioner school full-time? And honestly, it's a very, very good question. And in this video, I'm going to be going over that answer. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, LifeofaPsychNP. If you are new to this channel, let me formally introduce myself. I'm Darty. I'm a board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, and in this channel, I go over several different subjects to educate the public about mental health, ways to improve your lifestyle, topics related to nursing, nurse practitioners, and how to start and grow your own private practice. So if you are interested in any of these topics, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you like this video and comment down below what you love about my videos. And follow me on Instagram at LifeofaPsychNP. So, you probably clicked this video because you're interested in figuring out if it's possible to work full-time as an RN while attending nurse practitioner school full-time. And honestly, it's a great question, and it was a question I had for myself also, because at that time I was working full-time and I was trying to figure out if it's possible to even go to school full-time. And luckily for me, it was possible. But at the same time, everyone's different, so you always have to factor in certain things, especially when thinking about wanting to return to school. So there's 3 things that I always suggest whenever anyone asks me this question. 3 things to think about, and in this video I'm going to be going over those things. So without further ado, let's go over the 3 things that you have to think about whether or not you can go to school full-time while still working full-time as an RN. So let's go. So the very first thing that you have to consider is, what type of program are you going to attend? Are you going to attend an online program? Are you going to attend a traditional brick and mortar program, or are you going to attend a hybrid program? So depending on that answer, it's going to allow you to be able to see if it's possible for you. And depending on your work schedule, obviously it all depends on what your school is going to allow you to do. If you attend an online program, a lot of the times you're going to be able to do it because you can kind of do it at your own time. But you always have to consider clinicals. So a lot of times we have to have a certain amount of hours, which I'll go on later, which I'll talk about later on. But you always have to think about the hours allotted that you need during the week to be able to accomplish those clinical hours. So you always have to think about that regardless of which program you attend. But the beginning half, depending on which program you attend, maybe you're not going to be getting clinical hours and you're just doing the basic part of the nurse practitioner program where you're just doing a lot of the core classes. So when you're doing a lot of those core classes, which is like your 3Ps and all the other fluff classes that you have to have, a lot of times you're going to be able to do that, especially when it comes to online and hybrid classes. So you always have to think about which type of program is going to allow you the most flexibility, especially if you're working more days than not out of the week. So you always have to consider which type of program are you going to attend. A lot of the times, if you're doing the traditional in class, you might be going 1 to 2 days a week. But if you're doing the hybrid or the online, you may do most of those classes online, and for the hybrid you might just be going to certain days out of the month or out of the semester where you just have to go to class, but the rest is online. So that offers you more flexibility to enable you to work full-time and still go to school full-time. So the second thing that you have to consider is, what is your work schedule like? So you have to think about all the days that are going to be allotted, especially for clinicals and going to class. And if your work schedule is 5/8, it's going to be way harder for you to actually accomplish this, because a lot of the times you're going to have to go to clinicals 2 days out of the week, sometimes even 3 days. So you always have to think about that. But if you're doing 3/12s or if you're doing 4/10s, it's going to be a little bit easier, especially if you can kind of stack your days towards the end of the week so you can still work weekends, mostly weekends, and actually be able to go to clinicals during the week. So you always have to think about your work schedule, because at the end of the day, a lot of the times if you have a heavy work schedule where you're working so many days out of the week, like 5, maybe even 6 days out of the week, it may not be possible for you to go to school full-time while working full-time. But if you're working 3/12s either day shift, night shift, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to do that because you're more flexible when it comes to completing the clinical days, even if they throw 3 days at you as opposed to your normal 2 days. It just depends. So work schedule is a huge thing to consider. So the third thing that you have to consider is how many hours are required by your program and how long does that program allow you to be able to do those hours. So every program is different, every program requires a set amount of hours, and every program has different ways of actually spreading out those hours. Some programs make you do it in 2 semesters, some programs make you do it in 3, and some even allow you to do it in 4. But depending on your program, it's always safe to see how much they give you, because if you're going to be doing that amount of hours over a 2 semester period, more than likely you're going to have to attend clinicals more days compared to the ones that have 3 or even 4 semesters to do their hours. So you always have to think about that. For my program, I had to do it over a 3 semester period, but for my wife, she had to do it over a 2 semester period. So she had to do way more hours during the week compared to how many hours I had to do during the week. When you're thinking about programs to attend and seeing if it's actually possible to do it, you have to think about that because every school's different. And like I mentioned, you going to clinicals 3 days out of the week, and if you're working 5 days out of the week, how is it even physically possible? Maybe if you're working night shift and then you're going straight to clinicals the morning after and then going back to night shift afterwards, maybe it's possible, but is it actually doable? Do you even want to go through that? And it just all depends on the person, but that's definitely something you have to consider because some people, it might not be possible for them to go to clinicals 3 days a week. Maybe if their hours were spread out amongst 4 semesters, maybe you might be able to squeeze in a day here or there, but for the most part, it might not be physically possible to do it. So you always have to consider that because at the end of the day, you have to look at your livelihood, your mental health, and see if it's even worth it if you want to do it. But if you only have to go 1 day a week and you're still working just 3 days a week, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to fully accomplish going to school full-time while being a full-time RN. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the very end of my video, and I know I usually go over 5 things, but I figured I'd make this video a little bit shorter just because my videos are super long lately. But I just wanted to answer this question because so many of you guys have been asking me this question, and yes, it is possible. It's possible to actually work full-time and still go to school full-time, and it just all depends on your schedule and how flexible you are and how determined you are to do it, because at the end of the day, it's all about the sacrifices you're willing to make to be able to do it. For me, for example, I had to go to clinicals 2 days a week, 2 10s to 2 12s depending on the week, and I had to go to school 1 day a week, which is a 12-hour day. So I pretty much allotted 3 days for school, and I worked 3 12s, and I had to work pretty much every single weekend, so I was able to actually go to school full-time and work full-time. But not everyone is able to work that and not able to be that flexible, so it just depends on the person, but it's definitely possible. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to comment down below. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And if you haven't liked this video, please like this video and share it with your friends. And yes, have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye.